다음은 백신 맞은 분의 혈액 상태가 어떤지 좀 체킹해 보세요.
And they come from Dr. Zandre Botha. She's a PhD in alternative medicine. She holds a diploma in integrative medicine and is a certified live and dry blood analyst. She uses advanced microscopic techniques to analyze her patients' medical ailments, and more of her patients have post-COVID vaccine illnesses. So when an attorney recently approached her with a chain of custody documented Johnson & Johnson vial, she looked at multiple portions of the material and found something that no one else has yet shown.
I am just going to go through a couple of slides just explaining the blood and the patterns that I've been seeing in the patients coming in, which prompted me to start to keep records. So on the first slide that the viewers are seeing, this is a patient that came in seeking medical attention before the vaccine. We treated her, and afterwards, this is what her blood looked like. So a couple of months later, she was very happy and feeling much better, and her blood was showing perfect round red blood cells, beautiful neutrophil that is your white blood cell fighting cancer and viruses, and she was just feeling great. And then we didn't see her because she was doing so wonderful, and then after a couple of months she made another appointment with me. She was insisting on an appointment because she was very short of breath. She wasn't feeling her best. And when she came in and I looked at her blood after the vaccine, so she told me she had the vaccine, and this is what her blood looked like afterwards. So it was quite shocking to see a patient with completely normal, healthy blood come in after a couple of months, and we see this very severe stacked rouleau. So it's a very dangerous form of rouleau. It's not just a normal rouleau where there's no oxygen. These red blood cells cannot function at all. If you would understand that the capillaries and the little arteries are 4 micron in diameter, red blood cells have to actually single file to get into those capillaries. You're talking myocardial problems, intravascular blood clotting. So there's no oxygen that can actually reach the small arteries in the brain and in the heart. So I was very shocked to see this. And she wasn't the only one. I started to see severe, these weird structures in patients who had the jab. And again, the red blood cells are so deformed, you can't even, make head or tail of it. I've never seen that before.
So when you're talking about these weird structures, are you referring to these round black disc-looking things?
That I didn't see in the blood per se, but I saw black structures in the blood because there's 2 techniques that I use, and that's why you'll see discs in the one technique and you won't really see it in the blood because we use a cover slip to cover the blood. So it basically presses down the sample, where when I looked at the vials, I used a different technique, and I will explain that briefly when we get there. So I started to see these very strange structures, which I won't explain. Again, just the rouleau, I thought they were just crystals, uric acid crystals, but they did not resemble it completely. And I found this in every single vaccinated person with symptoms. And then I was so startled, yeah. So in this picture, we could see these black matter, and I found that in every single patient who had the vaccine. This was done at a 400 times magnification, and the next one is also, this was done at a higher magnification. I think this was about a 1,600 magnification. And then the lawyer approached me, like you mentioned, and she brought me a vial because I don't do that type of injections with my patients. And when I looked at the vial, I was so shocked because what I was finding in my patient's blood, I actually saw in the vial as well. And here on the next picture, I mean, if you can, compare the two, you can see it's exactly the same structure. So that I found in the vial. And this I also used by covering it with a cover slip. So it's basically, a normal slide, your microscope slides, and then I just covered it with a tiny cover slip. So this is how I got these images. And just for other scientists and doctors maybe watching, this is probably the technique that they use, because this is how we get taught. Just to mention that I'm not a particle expert at all. I'm not a biochemist. I don't know what I'm looking at. I'm just reporting what I'm seeing.
Well, we would definitely it would be advantageous if somebody would come forward who has that expertise. But what you're seeing here appears to be this round black disc with metal connector.
But they were self-assembling, which was very strange. And so I did one at a lower magnification, and then I did one at a higher magnification. And now we're looking at the discs. And really, if anyone can explain what this is, and this I did by not covering the vial. I actually just put a droplet and I put it under my microscope without covering it. And I think that's when maybe other people will start to see these type of structures as well. People doing microscopy will maybe be able to also see these same things.
So this is just one droplet from the vial. You're seeing all of this stuff. And you said that you don't think that these look biologic, but that they look more engineered. Can you say more about that? What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, they're very symmetrical, and they seem to be joined together by, I can just say what I'm seeing. I'm not sure what to make of it. If anybody has seen this before, then I would also like to know what it is. But I did about 4 samples, and I saw this in each and every sample. I took it from the same vial, but I checked it 4 times. And then when these black structures, when the sample dried, and this is another technique, is I just left the sample on the slide, and it just dried. And then I came back and I looked at it, and then these disc-like structures have they're gone. You can't find them anymore. But these black lines started to form. So that's the next thing I saw. And again, Stu, I wish I could tell you what it is, but I'm not a specialist in molecules or in particles. But
You've been examining live and dry blood for an extended period of time. How long have you been doing this?
15 years.
And in the 15 years that you have been doing this, have you ever seen anything like this?
Nothing.
And the only thing consistent about the blood that you are seeing these structures in is that these are patients who have received these shots being called COVID vaccines.
Yes.
So what kinds of illnesses are people suffering from that these very strange structures appear in their blood, in their bodies?
I see severe thrombosis, severe embolisms and water retention, cognitive issues, lots of cognitive issues, everything from memory loss to depression. I see patients with blood clots confirmed by an ultrasound, just lots of pain at the injection site, loss of movement from that arm that it was injected, severe headaches lasting longer than 8 weeks, and lots of mobility and pain, nerve pain. People have been experiencing shortness of breath, but then when I look at the bloods, I understand why there is shortness of breath, because the red blood cells cannot transport oxygen when they look like that. And even when I put the oximeter on to test their oxygen saturation, it's low. It's at 89. I mean, so it's not just looking at the blood. There's a physical manifestation of the symptoms.
So these people have low oxygen?
Very well. There's low oxygen. There is blood clotting. There's red blood cell aggregation. There's non-viable white blood cells. So the immunity cannot respond the way it should to viruses and bacteria and infections.
Which might explain these breakthrough cases or this Delta variant where all of these COVID patients seem to be those who are, quote, fully vaccinated. No, they're injured by these shots, is what they are.
I do agree with that. I would like to, maybe if you can just show the viewers, these black structures are not the only structures that I saw. When the sample dried and I looked at it again, I found these strange square-like discs as well, and they were definitely reflective, and they had a very specific structure.
So we've talked about shedding, we've talked about transmission, we've talked about people who are not injected being around inoculated people and actually feeling symptomatic in a lot of different ways. What about actually after handling this material? Did you experience any kind of ill side effects after being around this exposed material?
Yeah, interesting. I do. I don't feel well, and actually spoke to other doctors, and one doctor also said to me, you know what, I was in surgery for 2 hours, and I saw about 7 patients, and I wasn't feeling great. Then the next day I was seeing a lot of patients as well. And then I asked my receptionist to actually phone those patients and ask them if they had the injection. So, because we had similar symptoms, like a weird sensation in my brain. It felt like it was almost shaking, vibrating. I had anxiety, which I don't normally experience. I'm a very logical person, so I rationalize stuff and then I get over it. And I saw a lot of weird hormonal issues just with myself. And when I spoke to my other colleague, she says, it's the strangest thing. I'm experiencing exact same hormonal issues as you. And even working, so even being in contact with these patients and also working with this, apart from the shock, I definitely wasn't experiencing good symptoms at all.
Wow.
When I started to drink a couple of, so I've worked out a protocol and I've been giving it to patients that have had the vaccine that is not feeling well. I need to stop calling it a vaccine, I know. And when I started to drink those things like the NAC, the glutathione, I'm drinking zeolite, I'm doing molecular hydrogen, ozone therapy, then I started to feel better.
Okay, so have your inoculated patients also experienced a positive benefit from this particular protocol? Because people are desperate. There's a lot of people with this remorse after they've been subjected to this jab. Is it helping them as well?
It is helping them as well. So people have been coming in, the headaches have been getting better, blood clotting is also better. So I do also give something for blood clotting depending on their symptoms. If it's more cognitive stuff, then I focus on that. But everybody's blood is clamping. So, my philosophy is life is in the gut and in the blood. And Stu, I know you also love God and you serve God. And my first thing is that I say to my patients, when you repent, when you say, God, I'm sorry, I didn't know, I was deceived, come help me. He's faithful and you will do that. And then we do the treatments as well.
Yeah, God is probably really the only treatment that all of us have right now for any symptom, whether it's due to an injection or not. Dr. Botha, thank you so much for your bravery and for reporting this. And we need to find an expert that can now take your findings and opine on specifically what is this? What is this that we are looking at? So if there's any experts out there watching this, we want to hear from you.
Well, like she said, if anyone can explain what this is, well, I can. So we know exactly what these are, and the misnomer is they keep calling them black discs because they're thinking two-dimensionally. But you can see it's not just the sensors around the side. These rings here, this second ring, and then this is shine, these are sensors as well. So if you can see these as the spheres that they actually are, then you can see that these are clearly cadams. In fact, this version here may even be more donut-shaped similar to a blood cell, the shape of a blood cell. I just can't really tell from this video and these pictures. I would need to look through the microscope myself. And this is on a micro scale and not on a nano scale. So CADMs would be like on the atomic level instead of, say, a molecular level. So these are a little larger, but I'm going to play the clip then from my video years ago, a couple of minutes of it, that kind of walks through the science of how these were developed long before they were deceptively injected into humans. So this is a good first step. Let's look at the M-Blocks self-assembling modular robots. This is sort of a baby step where they started to program matter, large hunks of matter, cubes, to self-assemble. So you get the idea. Basically, by putting these sensors on larger pieces of matter, they were able to control them through software to make them seek out other sensors and move toward them. Then they moved on to CADM cylindrical prototypes because they could move in more directions than just a block. They moved more easily, they rolled more easily, and they could put more sensors on them. Then the next logical step was spheres, because they can move and roll and connect very easily, and you can cover them with sensors. So that's what they did. Then the next logical step was to go smaller, much smaller. So these are CADMs, computerized atoms. They are the building blocks of what they are calling claytronics. So claytronics is like high-tech potter's clay. It would be a malleable mass of these CADMs, these computerized atoms.
다음 영상은 그 백신 접종자들 그 혈액 분석한 그 방송 인터뷰 장면입니다.
2021, welcome to the Stu Peters Show. My name is Stu Peters. Today we're going to start with absolutely alarming and breaking news. This is horrific. It's coming out of Germany. Dr. Jane Ruby is with us. A group of doctors and lawyers have examined the blood of inoculated patients, and you have their findings. Thanks for being here.
Yes, Stu, this all surrounds a physician in Germany by the name of Dr. Barbel Gitala. Dr. Gitala sees patients. She gathered together in her office in Germany two attorneys and another physician. And what she was sharing with them was her concerns over her patients who have been inoculated. And so this is just incredible, Stu, because not only are we going to show you today the blood samples that she's seen, and by the way, she's doing 10, 12, 15, in her words, of her patients per week. So this is overwhelming evidence. But they also got hold of a vial from Johnson & Johnson. They take you through it in their video. I'm going to send you the clip. It'll be on your website. And first I want to, before we get into what they saw in the vial of Johnson & Johnson injection, I want to take you through these blood smears that Dr. Gitala is revealing, because this is the stunning evidence. In the first picture I'm showing you, picture 1, you see moments, in her words, moments after the patient got to her office. She took her blood smear and immediately put it under the microscope. These are regular microscope pictures, by the way. You can see this very lit up a piece in the middle. You can see the blood in the background. They look like coins stacked up. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. In the next picture, Stu, we've marked it picture number 4. You can see this very coiled piece with a metallic sheen. And Dr. Gitala says in the middle here that this coiled structure does not absorb light. like the red blood cells do. And then you can see in the background all these red blood cells, and they look like they're all stuck together, which they are. And I wanted to call your attention now to picture number 5 of the blood, where you see this elongated, very shiny tubular structure going through a group of red blood cells. And Stu, what these blood cells demonstrate is a stacking phenomena that's called rulio. I want to share with your viewers, rulio formation of red blood cells is really a stacking of 4 or more red blood cells, and you can see in the photo here of the red blood cells that they just line up like a stack of coins. It's normally found in patients with blood cancers. And I want to just read this. Rulio formation refers to the stacking of 4 or more red blood cells. The red blood cells normally, by the way, have a negative charge, Stu. That's so that they repel each other, and for good reason, because they're not supposed to stick together under normal, healthy conditions. When this material apparently is injected into people, it changes the electron charge to positive, and so that's why they're stacking together and they're clumping together. The doctors and the lawyers in this video opine that this is likely the beginning of thrombotic activity. Now, let me move on to picture number 6 of the blood, where you see it's pulled back a little bit. So you see that metallic coil that she calls a roll of coins, but in the surrounding areas, there's no doubt about these red blood cells are clumping together. They're forming their little stacked rulio formation. And she actually says in the video, I'm afraid for patients. When I take their blood of the vaccinated and I put these smears under the microscope, I'm literally afraid for patients. Some of the things that she said were, she's never seen these structures before. In all of her years, she's not a young woman. She's practiced for many, many years. She also says that the rulio formation across all of these patients is severe. So we're looking at severe red blood cell damage. She also says these anomalies I cannot interpret, to be honest with you. So I want to move on to the pictures of what they found when she took droplets of the Johnson & Johnson vial that they were able to secure. By the way, they do not disclose how they got it, what the chain of custody was, but they do show in the video one of the vials, and one of the lawyers comments that that is a lot number. It's got an expiration date. These are all similar findings to what the Spanish researchers found. So I want to move on to what she found under the microscope and what they reveal in the Johnson & Johnson vial. So in the vial pictures that I provided, picture number 1, you actually see her computer screen, and you see this very rigid structure with these tiny little dots in between. And so if we move to picture numbered 6 of the vial pictures, it's a little bit of a closer zoom in on those structures, and you see these little dots in between. And she says, we have these little, this is the Johnson & Johnson vial. She said, we have these little dots in there. Again, she said, these are very fine grains. I've never seen them before. And so the people, the 2 lawyers and the 2 doctors in this video are stunned. They talk about the fact that they know that doctors are afraid to come out and talk about this. The 2 lawyers discuss the fact that if they could bring this to a court, they're afraid that judges are afraid to be the lone judge that expresses honesty and shock at this. They say it's the responsibility of these companies like Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J to disclose what we are really seeing in these pictures. And it's just unbelievable. I want to name, by the way, because it is in the public domain, everything I'm sharing with you, these doctors. There's Dr. Barbel-Gitala, who is the physician who did these examinations and analyses under her microscope. Then we have Dr. Axel Bolland, another German physician, who basically says in the video that we've got to warn people because they're giving this to children. He's trying to protect the children. He also says that it's absurd because in Germany and throughout the world, they're giving these injections to hospice patients. These are patients that want to die peacefully. They've chosen to just go peacefully to their death without invasive medical procedures, and yet they're being forced to take these injections, at least according to Dr. Bolland in Germany. I wouldn't be surprised if that's happening in the United States. And you'll see pictures, when I've shared pictures of the physicians. Picture number 4, you see Dr. Gitala sitting at her desk in front of the computer with the other folks, and she's showing them on her computer screen these horrific pictures of the patient's blood. And Stu, she's probably got hundreds of these slides coming up, and she has said on the film, I've never seen anything like it. I'm afraid for my patients. These are just serious blood anomalies. And I don't know where this goes next, Stu, but we also have a video that's just come out from some physicians in France. They've put the blood of a vaccinated person under the microscope. It's identical, Stu.
So, again, we don't know the chain of custody, but we're seeing multiple slides here. It's very concerning, very alarming. The fact that they're concerned about going to a judge because the judge doesn't want to be the lone judge. I will just put all of them in a group right now. There's a line in the sand here. Whoever is not warning you about the potential dangers of this is complicit in whatever happens to anybody as a result of these shots that have been proven to be dangerous and in some cases deadly. There are a lot of people dying from this. We know that there are multiple platforms that track adverse events. We only have access to one, which is the least comprehensive and the least reliable, and we have seen the numbers get throttled on that system, which is called VAERS, the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, that fluctuates numbers up and down like a big game. It's like a big game. So if you are an elected representative, if you are a politician, if you are a leader in a community, a judge, a doctor, and you are not explicitly coming forward as loudly as possible and warning people about this, there's a difference between, hey, taking these shots is your choice, it's up to you. But providing people with the information, the real information that these things are dangerous, appear to be poisonous, have been proven to be deadly, that is a whole nother thing. And now that we have this new data, that we have these slides, if it is not looked into, if it is not investigated, and if you don't warn people, you're on the other side. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, absolutely, Stu. I think we need a panel. If somebody could get a panel together of Dr. Gitala and her group, of Dr. Philippe Van Welbergen, of the French doctor who just came out with the same exact blood smear. And Stu, one of the things that the lawyers brought up in Dr. Gitala's group was that there is gross lack of informed consent, which is what you just alluded to moments ago. And people don't know what they're getting. So I don't know how much more evidence we need, but I think I want to put a call out to physicians in the United States. If you have access to a regular microscope, start doing blood smears of your patients who have been inoculated. If you want to take the word of the government and the CDC, at least take a look at these blood smears, talk to your colleagues, and if you still feel these are, quote, safe and effective, I don't know what to tell you.
There was a nurse on Tucker Carlson's program last night who bravely came forward, and she said, it is our job to question everything, to advocate for these patients. It is our job. We question doctors constantly. At this point, nurses and doctors need to remember what their oath is. Doctors specifically need to remember what their oath is. And at this point, you need to take the opportunity to either confirm or contradict what we're seeing here. Grab a microscope, look at the blood with the permission of your patient, of anybody who has taken this injection, inoculation. Do your own research. Do the research and bring it to the people. This appears to be a poisonous injection at this point. If it is destroying the blood, like what we're seeing in these slides, and we already know about the Spanish researchers, La Quinta Columna, the Fifth Column,
Yes.
These people. We have heard when you were hosting over on another platform, Dr. Carrie Madej said that she has viewed slides that have come from a particular vial. She hasn't released those slides yet, but she said that what she saw was completely alarming. I don't know the words that she used verbatim, but she was really emotional when she was talking about her findings after looking at these slides. People not coming forward are now complicit. This is no longer, it's your choice, because people don't know what they're choosing. It is being hidden from people, and anybody who speaks out about it is deplatformed. I agree. Your call right now for these doctors to do this is absolutely the right thing. Dr. Jane Ruby, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Stu. Stay tuned.